Why do you guys think it's so hard to leave? So hard to walk away from someone that you think you love?
A last resort, because in the Bible it says, you should not divorce.
What has been the most exciting part about engagement so far?
For people who are stressed about just a wedding in general, like, that's just one speck of your story. It's just one day. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it leads into a life with your loved one.
It doesn't mean that there's somebody not out there for you, because when I met her, I wasn't looking for anybody.
His college sweatshirt, because I was just like, we have plenty of pictures at Opryland. We don't have to take pictures this go around. Like, it's no big deal.
What was going through your mind when, he asked, did you expect anything?
She was wearing leggings and an oversized sweatshirt, but I think it's adorable because it's like, got her in her, vulnerable state.
My natural state.
You don't know what all the effort that went on to plan said wedding was. So I would say the planning's probably the most stressful part.
Have you guys learned anything new about each other?
No, not really. I don't think. Have you?
Yes.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of FFTM. You know what it is, the short version for Faithfully Free, Truthfully Me. I am your host, Hannah Hazer. Before we get started, I just want to say I got some new merch. It's the crew neck for FFTM podcast, the Romans 12:2 on the front, and then the verses on the back. It's on my website, fftmpodcast.com, if you want to go check it out. But today we're talking about engagement. I've done an episode on singleness. I've done two episodes on dating. And I've done an episode on marriage, but I've never done engagement. And I have some friends here who just got engaged in November, I think. And, but yeah, these are my friends, Matt and Gabby. So welcome to FFTM, y'all. And thanks for driving to Franklin.
Yeah, the traffic was terrible.
Dang, that's surprising on a Saturday.
Yeah, we got stuck on the 65 loop for probably 20 minutes. Just no reason.
Really, Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's crazy. My first question that I have for you guys is one that I ask everyone on the podcast before we get started. What does faithfully free, truthfully me mean to you?
I think that's a very good phrase because, when you're faithfully free in Jesus, you can be the best version of yourself no matter, because as you learn in church, Jesus accepts you for who you are. And if you can understand that and you fully believe it and accept it, then you're free. You're the best version of yourself.
Good.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's also, you're free from the worries of other people who don't have faith. Like you're not afraid of death. You're not afraid of being uncertain in where you are in life because he has a path for you.
Love that. Thank you guys for sharing that. I guess to start, I would love for you guys to just kind of share your story and how you guys met.
Well, I mean, it was just mutual friends. So
yeah, I went to college with one of her best friends, now husband, and so they had went on a trip to Colorado, and he posted all these pictures, and I'm like, I haven't talked to this guy in a while, so I just texted him like, hey man, you wanna go get dinner or something this Friday night? And he was like, yeah, me, my wife and Gabby are down, and I was like, who's Gabby? And then honestly, the rest is history. We've been together ever since.
How did you guys know that this is the person you wanted to marry?
Wow.
Well, really, my first big indicator was he moved here before me, just a little bit before me. And I was like, oh, I can't stand being without him. I don't want to live without him. I can't stand it. I can't see the rest of my life without him.
And I think for me, it was the fact that she did move. She upended her life to step out into the unknown, because the reason I moved here is I got a job I couldn't turn down up here. So we moved. We're from Memphis, so we moved 3 hours away, but all of her friends and her family are in Memphis, but she upended all that and moved here for me. So when she did, I was like, okay, well then, yeah, this is the one for sure.
I thought you guys were from Mississippi, not Memphis.
Throw a rock out the back door and you landed in Memphis. So yeah, Mississippi technically, but
Hendersonville, Nashville.
Yeah, true. All right, Matt, I would love for you to share the story of your proposal and what was going through your mind when you proposed.
Oh man, you might want to strap in for this one. So it was a very cold day in November. So I decided I was going to propose in July of last year. That's when I bought the ring, right? So I was trying to figure out the best time to do it, and we kept having these things come up like, oh, we got to go here, do this. We got to do this weekend. So it was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. I do not remember the date because I'm terrible with dates, and I know I see the way you're looking.
November 23rd.
Yeah, I see the way you're looking at me. Yeah. So for the past week, a couple weeks before that, I started like planning it out. I'm like, okay, well, I want her family to be there, and I want my family to be there. So it was trying to work the logistics of it. But we got it where her family would come up on the Saturday night before we did it because her mom has to work on Saturdays. And her brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law were already in town for a concert. So, so I finally got them all here. And my parents round-tripped it the Sunday I did it. So they drove from Mississippi about 4 hours away, literally watched me propose, hung out for like 15 minutes, then drove back. But so I did it at Opry Mills Mall at the not the mall, I'm sorry, hotel, not the mall. It was all decorated, all the Christmas lights, all that fun stuff. And we had gotten pictures there both years before when we come to check out the lights. So I was like, you know what, this is the best time to do it. So we get there. My parents are already there because they were hiding while we were walking through the mall. So because we were like, okay, if she sees my parents, she's gonna be like, huh, well, that's kind of weird. So the night before, her parents had actually never been to Nashville. So we were showing them around the night before. We were just out until really late. And Gabby, the next morning, did not want to get dressed up for pictures. So she was wearing leggings and an oversized sweatshirt her dad had from the 80s.
Yeah, truly, his college sweatshirt. Because I was just like, we have plenty of pictures at Opryland. We don't have to take pictures this go around. Like, it's no big deal.
What was going through your mind when, he asked, did you expect anything?
No, that was the crazy thing. I had no idea. So I was just confused at first when he was like, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I was like, oh, wait. And then I looked down at my clothes and I'm like, oh, I look like a homeless person. That's fine, though. I was just like, oh, this is happening right now. It was just such kind of a shell-shocked moment. I was like, oh, okay.
That's where I was going with this. Like she was wearing leggings and an oversized sweatshirt, but I think it's adorable because it's like, got her in her, vulnerable state.
My natural state. So, he really loves me.
But before I did it, I knew she would say yes, but in my mind, it's like the odds are never 100%. So I was insanely nervous. And about 5 minutes before I did, I had to go to the bathroom. I threw up about 5 minutes before I did it. It was bad. It was really bad.
And I loved that it was a surprise because I do love surprises. And I thought I would see it coming, but this was completely out of left field for me. I was like, oh, I'm going to sniff it out immediately. But this was out of nowhere. So that was sweet.
She was going out of town 2 weeks later and she was refusing to get her nails done. And all the week before, I was like, hey, why don't you go get your nails done?
No, because I was like, I'm going to Dallas for a sales conference and I'm going to have my nails done for that. So I was like, I can't get them done too soon because then they're going to look bad for the sales conference. So I was like, no, I'll just wait. And he was like, okay.
All right, if you want to wait, can't stop you. What has surprised you guys the most about this new season?
Probably just all the planning. I knew planning a wedding would be a lot and it would be hard, but I didn't know all the little details that go into it.
Yeah, I think you suddenly go from living in the moment, just kind of enjoying the present. It's oh my gosh, now it's, we got to plan for something that's, a year and a half away or however long it ends up being, right? You just have to start putting that in motion. So I think, transferring to a future way of thinking is one of the biggest transition changes.
Does engagement feel a lot different than dating, or just a little different, or not different at all? How would you describe it?
Maybe just a little different. I wouldn't say it's a huge difference because we were together for almost 3 years before we got engaged, so it's not super different. But I think on the terms of this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with now, that certainty makes it a little bit different because it's this is my person and she's not going anywhere.
Have you guys decided on a wedding date yet?
So we're a little in between dates because we haven't gotten a for sure venue yet. So it kind of depends on when the venue will like what dates they have available, but we're thinking May 22nd of 2027 or May 29th of 2027.
Have you always wanted like a spring wedding or?
No, I actually wanted a fall wedding at first, but then I was looking at venues that are more like garden venues, and I was like, oh, that would be way prettier in the spring.
I'm also a football fan, so that works out better for me.
Oh, yeah, he was gonna refuse October.
Come on, fall's better though. Are you guys looking at venues in Nashville or more like back home?
Ooh, that's been another challenge for sure, figuring out where we want to do it.
Yeah, like I've toured some back home and I've just like looked online at ones here, but we've even like thrown out a destination wedding idea, but that's probably a no.
Fun, though. I
It
think you
would
should.
be. It would be really fun. It's just a lot to
Or it's
like
cheaper.
Yeah, kind of.
What has been the most exciting part about engagement so far?
Truly for me, like touring the venues and like picturing like, oh, this is where we would have the ceremony, you know, this is where we would get ready, just all the little things. It's like, oh, that's so fun.
I think honestly for me, it's not even having to do with the wedding per se. It's just like looking forward even further past the wedding, like all the stuff that we're going to get to experience together. Like, you know, trips we can go on, like, I don't know where to, obviously, but, you know, just stuff we're going to get to do together. Like even, you know, buying a house, you know, buying cars in the future, just someone that's going to be there for every single, you know, step of life after.
Do you guys want kids?
No.
No.
No, I do not.
You might change your mind.
Yeah, odds are never 100%. It might change, but
Or it might just happen. You're like, don't say that.
but everybody I've talked to, like, that didn't want kids, like, they always changed their mind when they got older. They're like, yeah, when I was 24, 25, I didn't want kids either. So you never know what might happen, but I'm pretty
You guys are
confident.
so young too.
I'm pretty confident it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm glad we're aligned on that because that is a very important thing. Like you hear people getting engaged and they're like, oh, one really wants kids and one doesn't. And that's just something you need to be aligned on.
Yeah, you gotta communicate on it.
Yes.
What has been the most stressful part about this new season?
Probably all the planning, honestly.
Probably say that and like picking a venue too, because obviously my family wants it more so in Memphis, but it would be way more convenient for us to have it here. And a destination is also cheaper, but then who can really show up to that? And do you really want to ask people to like, okay, buy a plane ticket?
Yeah, shell out a couple grand to come see us get married. Yeah.
Yeah, but it only happens once.
It's true.
Yeah.
What is something that no one warned you about engagement?
I'm going to say all the planning. Again, I know that's been an answer for a lot of the questions, but it truly is mind-blowing how much planning goes into it. Because, I mean, if you've ever been to a wedding, you know, you really just enjoy it. You don't know what all went on behind the scenes. You're just enjoying the couple, celebrating them, and you don't know what all the effort that went on to plan said wedding was. So I would say the planning's probably the most stressful part, honestly.
It's just a lot to think about. And like the budgeting, it's like down to like the outlets. Like how much is one outlet? Like it's just, and you never think about that when you're thinking about a wedding.
For sure. Have you guys learned anything new about each other?
No, not really. I don't think. Have you?
Yes,
What?
I'm the better planner.
Oh, yes. I've learned about me that I'm just aggressively type B. Like I'm just like, it'll work out, you know. Like I can figure it out later. And now it's like, oh wait.
And I'm a very like step-by-step person. Like she's over here, what kind of food are we going to have? And I'm like, well, first we need a date, a venue, because the venue is going to determine how many people you can invite, and how many people you have determines how much food you need to have, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very like checklist. We need to go down it. And she's just like, eh.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, what song should we play? And it's like, we got to book a DJ first. So
Do you guys have a song?
that's actually something we disagree on.
That's a very big disagreement right now.
It's I'm fighting for Tattooed Heart by Ariana Grande.
And I do not like Ariana Grande in the
Why
slightest.
not? Why
I
don't you
just
love
don't.
Ariana?
I just don't like the high-pitched voice. I just can't get behind it.
Oh, you gotta leave right now.
Yeah, truly.
This is Gabby's
Boo.
episode.
Throwing tomatoes.
All my FFTM listeners are like, all right, we hate him. Just kidding.
That's okay.
Boycott him.
They're like, Gabby, you can do better.
Maybe I can recover by saying I do like Taylor Swift.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, that's good.
that's good. You like Taylor. Now, if you didn't like Taylor, we'd have a problem.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to other couples who want to get engaged soon? I guess, Matt, what would you say to other guys who are planning on proposing to their significant others?
I think you need to have all the conversations before you do it, because but like I've said a million times, once you get engaged, you all of a sudden go from living in the present to planning for the future. And you just need to have like all the hard conversations out of the way, like the kids. Like, do you want kids? What are your religious values? What are your career goals? What are your financial goals? How can we do that together? Because it goes from being an I to a we mentality. Like, what can we do to achieve XYZ? That's probably the biggest advice I could give, is have the hard conversations before.
That's good. How about you? What advice would you give throughout this process?
I mean, I feel like you really hit the nail on the head. Like, you really do need to really just truly know each other. I feel like some people kind of try to jump into engagements, and like I said, like, they don't even know if the other one wants kids, or they don't know if like going to church is important to them, or the financial everything. So you just need to know your partner.
I will add on to it, that timeline can be different for everybody. Like, I got a really good friend back home. Him and his fiance were together for 8 months before he proposed. Like, I think knowing is different for everybody, because it's everybody's different, right? Like, they met like last February or March of 2025. They got engaged in December, and they're getting married in June, and they want to have their first kid by this time next year. So like they just know. And I think that looks different for everybody. Like one of her friends and her now fiance, they were dating for 10 years before. Like, it looks different for everybody. So
no one's the same. No couple's
exactly.
the same. What do you think couples should focus on the most during engagement?
I do think they should take time to try to enjoy the engagement season, because it goes by so fast. That's what's also shocked me the most, is just like how quick time is going. I'm like, okay, we just got our engagement photos done. Now we need to book a venue. Now we need to do the catering. But it's like, it's fun to just be like, oh, we're engaged, and just enjoy each other in this season.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the planning aspect of it. Like, well, now that we don't have a venue yet, obviously, but like, now that we got a venue, we need to move on to the next thing and all that. I think the biggest part is, just staying close to each other and, reminding yourself what all you're doing it for anyway,
How do you guys really stay close to God during this season?
We go to church every Sunday. So actually at our church right now, he's going through our sermon for the year, I believe is what he said. He wrote this book, and it's how am I trying to describe this? It's like, how does the New Testament relate to the Old Testament? So we'll read these passages during the week, and then on Sundays he goes back, he kind of touches on them a little bit, and then does his own thing. So we just stay in church and read this plan and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that he also hit the nail on the head. Like, we kind of do our homework by reading the book and following the passages, and then just coming to church. And we really do try to go every Sunday if we're not out of town, or at least listen every Sunday.
Is there a scripture that's really like stuck close to you during this season of life?
I'll tell you my favorite verse, and I think it applies to all walks of life, whether you're single, you're engaged, married, or whatever. It's Lamentations 3:23, and it's, "They are new every morning, and great is thy faithfulness." And to me, that kind of goes back to the very first question you asked. It's like, if you're faithfully free, you, like, in that faithfulness, you're new every day. Like, you wake up every day. It doesn't matter what you did wrong yesterday. Today is a new day.
What keeps you guys calm during this busy season?
Really, he keeps me calm, because he's like the level-headed, like, when I'm freaking out, like, we need to get a venue, we need to like really jump on everything. He's like, it'll all work out. It'll all be okay. Like, he's the calm to my
He's
stress.
the calm one in the relationship.
Yes,
I love that.
he
Calm to your
is.
stress.
Calm, level-headed.
Well, it's, we're looking at May of next year, so it's like we got 14 months. Like, I'm not saying we need to wait till October to start planning this. Right. So I'm saying we don't need to wait till October to start planning this. But it's like we have time. And I think the hardest part is picking the venue, because that's where all the pictures are going to be taken and all that kind of, so the stuff that's going to
Kind of brings everything together.
Right. It's what's going to stick, 10 years from now, everybody can be like, oh, y'all's wedding was just so pretty or whatever. And so I think that's the hardest part,
and you
honestly.
want people to have a good experience,
Exactly.
too. And you guys need to have a good experience. Do you have your dress picked out?
I do not yet, but I'm very much looking forward to that. That has always
Dress
been.
shopping. It looks so fun.
Yeah.
She watches Say Yes to the Dress all the time, even before we got engaged.
Do you watch it with her?
No,
Why not? I think you should.
I'm good.
And I just love seeing dresses on TikTok. I feel like once I start, though, I'm not going to be able to find a dress because I'm just not going to want to stop
She's very
playing
picky.
dress up about it.
And you can't show him.
I
He has
know,
to
and that's going to be
surprise.
kind of hard because I'm going to love it so much and I'm going to be like,
Yeah, we're debating on if we want to do like first look pictures or if the first look is going to be when she walks down the aisle. That's what we're.
I think it should be that.
You think?
I think so, yeah. More traditional.
yeah, that is sweet.
I love
I think the
traditional
first
weddings.
look pictures are cool for like, I guess, a novelty, for lack of a better term, because you actually get to get it on camera, like, you know, the happiness of seeing, you know, when I get to see her all dressed up for the big day. So I think there's pros and cons to each one.
So, Matt, you were engaged once before. What have you learned kind of like when that all broke off to where you are now with Gabby?
Oh boy,
That was a curveball.
that was a big curveball. I was not expecting this. I'm sorry if I'm taking a minute. I think the biggest thing I've learned is trust is a really big factor. If you can't trust your significant other, then it's never gonna work. Never. And it took me a while to get back to that, and she can tell you, like it took a while, but
How long did you guys date before you got engaged?
Almost 3 years. I'd say like 2.5.
probably 2.5. Yeah, probably 2.5 years.
What would you say to someone who like struggles with trust, and what advice would you give to trust your significant other more?
Honestly, just pray about it. Really, like, you know, what is it, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? And that, you know, a lot of athletes use that, and I feel like it gets taken as very surface level, but if you dive down into deep issues, like, that is a very true statement. It's like, you know, yeah, I have trust issues, but if I pray about it and stay faithful with, you know, what I believe and all that, then eventually, you know, it'll work itself out. And it took a long time. It took a long time, but, you know, I'm finally back at that point. So
Yeah, and really depend on Jesus during this time too, because he's the truth, he's the way, he's the life. Now we're getting into the fun questions. Who
Ooh.
is more excited about the wedding and why?
Probably me, because, well, I've just always loved the idea of having a wedding. Like, just the wedding itself, I feel like is kind of more exciting for the bride in general, because it's like, oh, and it's just having everybody together, everybody we love all in one place, celebrating with us. It's just something magical about that.
I love that. Do you have anything to add?
she's definitely more excited because me personally, like, it's going to sound really bad saying, like, it doesn't really matter to me because it's like, I get to spend the rest of my life with her either way. So whether we have this big blowout wedding, whether we go to the Dominican Republic, whether we even just go to the courthouse, like, it doesn't matter to me because however it's done, I still get to spend the rest of my life with her.
As long as you're with each other, it's
Exactly.
the best thing.
The outcome is the same.
Exactly. Who is the better planner?
Definitely him.
Who is always more stressed?
Me. And that's my fault because I'm a bad planner. So,
I'm always stressed too. I feel like it's a girl thing sometimes.
yeah.
It is.
What is one thing that you both disagree on for your upcoming wedding? Not even for your upcoming wedding. What is one thing that you both just disagree on? And it can't be music because you already said that.
Yeah, there is that.
I was going to say that again. Probably colors.
Like wedding colors or
Yeah.
just colors in general?
Aren't you colorblind?
I
Yeah,
am.
you're
That's why we
colorblind,
disagree on
so
colors.
this is
We had a
cute.
conversation one time, and I confidently said with my chest the raspberries were orange.
Yeah.
So we disagree on colors a lot.
Okay. What about you?
But yeah, let me think of like a real answer because that's
Sorry, I just wanted to insert that in there.
other than music, I would say like maybe activities. Like I like to, go out with my friends, and eat and everything. And he's more of a homebody. So
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
that.
yeah, I would say probably like, but it's weird because I'm an introvert, but I still like to be more out there than he does. He likes to sit at home
Yeah, it's kind of crazy
more
because
than
I'm
I
definitely
do.
more of the extroverted person.
Yeah, you
I
are.
just don't like being out. I don't like big crowds.
Yeah.
Unless it's a sports game. I'm a sucker for a sports game.
Sports bars. I love sports bars.
Yes.
What is one thing you guys appreciate more about each other now?
I would probably say his calmness again, because I've always appreciated that about him, because he's always been level-headed in any type of situation, and I love that, because I'm kind of one to just like lose my head and be like, well, this is it, like our whole day's ruined, but he's very like, okay, this is fine, and it's just, I appreciate it a lot in this season, especially.
I'm a very did you have a bad day or did you have a bad 5 minutes kind of person. That's
a
just the
good
kind of way.
perspective.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
Don't let those 5 minutes ruin your day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like there's
for
24
sure.
hours in a day. I used to know the minutes off the top of my head, but it's like, if you have a bad conversation that even takes 2 hours, it's like, is it really worth saying your whole day's ruined?
Yeah.
What has engagement taught you guys about love?
Ooh. It's going to sound really superficial, but that love is real. And there is like such thing as a lasting love. Because in the Bible it says to love your significant other, spouse, however you want to word it, like Christ loves the church. And you really think about it, that's a deep kind of love. It's deep, but it's like when you meet that person that you do love that much, it's kind of like, wow, it puts it in perspective,
When was that moment when you realized that you guys really did love each other?
I can tell you the exact day the first time we hung out. It was
So now
August
you know the
4th.
days.
I do
Okay.
know that day because it was one of the best days of my life. It was August 4th, 2023. That's when we met. And until, let's see, this is where I get the dates confused again. It doesn't really matter. Her grandmother had passed away and she had to go. Her whole family lives in Illinois. And so she went to the celebration of life they did in Illinois. But before that, from that first weekend of August all the way to whenever in October it was, we hadn't spent a weekend apart. We did something together every single weekend. So it was when I didn't get to spend a weekend with her, I was like, wow, I really do think I love this girl. Because I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself.
For me, it's probably the first time he hung out with me and all my friends, because they can be a lot, big personalities, and I know that's so out of his comfort zone. And it's like, he would not do this if he didn't love me. Like, spend the entire day with us and nights and drive us all around. Like, he
Especially the driving part.
Oh yeah, for
I hate
sure.
driving.
And he's always that, and I do too. So he's always that, and I'm just thinking like he wouldn't do that if he didn't love me.
Exactly. If you guys could describe this season in one word, what would you say?
Growth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, growth is a good one.
Can't say the same one.
I know.
I can expound on that a little bit if you want to think.
Yeah,
Instead
you
of just
can.
one.
Yeah.
Expand.
Um,
While she thinks.
I think growth is a big one, honestly, because you learn to grow together as a person. I said earlier, it goes from a I mentality to a we mentality. So it's like, well, I need to manage my money better, or we need to figure out like what we want to do with our financial goals, or what we want to do about going to church, what we want to do about going on vacations even. Like, so I think it's learning to grow as a person and an individual as well as a couple, because when you get married you form basically one person, and that doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect, like picture perfect, because you can ask any married couple that's been together for even 50 years. Like my grandparents, before they passed away, they were married for 55 years. And I would ask my grandfather, like, how, 55 years is a long time. And he was like, it's not a long time with the right person. He was like, but marriage is hard. He said, and you do have to work to make it, you have to work at it to make it work. He's like, there's going to be some times where you just want to strangle the other person, because they aren't listening or whatever. But he said it's all about just talking, communicating. And I'll be honest, I'm not the best communicator. Like I'm not very good about sharing my feelings, but I'm working on and trying to grow as a person to communicate better with her and just, grow together.
Yeah, I feel like in our generation, a lot of people just don't know how to communicate anymore, and that's where relationships really fail.
And I attribute that to social media.
Social media has ruined a lot, and society has just changed a lot for sure.
Well, it's like, I'm a football fan, right? So I was watching the Titans uniform release, and they showed like an overcrowd view of the uniforms. it looked like every single person in that arena was holding up a cell phone. Like nobody was just sitting there taking in the moment, if that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that anymore. Just take in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I do agree, growth is a big one. And I think just love, because you have to have love to go through this season, of course, and to look forward to just the future and, marriage in general.
That's awesome. What is the best advice that someone has given you, not even throughout the season, just like the best advice that someone has given you that you've stuck with?
That's a good question. I've gotten a lot of advice through the years.
Yeah, me too.
I want to say it's probably from my grandfather again, just like you have to work at things to make them work. And not just marriage or whatever, but it's like, you have to work to accomplish what you want in life. So it's, never give up, never quit. Because it's like if everybody quit when things got hard, then nothing would ever be successful, right? So marriages, business owners, right? If they quit, when they, had a hardship or whatever, their business wouldn't have taken off or whatever else. Like I think so, just not quitting and staying true to what you know.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, my mom has always said, like, when it comes to marriage, it should feel easy. It should feel like you're with your best friend, but it's because you both agree to work for it and work at it. And she also always says with her advice that she would never try to steer me wrong. And that always sticks with me because I'm like, that is true. And somebody who loves you will never try to steer you wrong.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you guys for sharing that. What would you tell couples who are feeling really overwhelmed right now and that they don't think this is going to work, but they don't want to give up? They want to keep going, but they're just tired. What would you say to couples who feel like that?
Well, I would just say, like, it is so important to pray about it because in the Bible it says God is the way, Jesus is the way and the light, and you do need to pray about it and pray, like, is this the person for me? And please give us strength to work through these issues. It's just really important. And it's really important to read your Bible, too, because you want to love each other the way God loves you. And the Bible has so many examples of that.
And love yourself, too, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love someone else.
Exactly.
Good quote. I'm going to agree with that. And it's like, not just praying that this is the right person, because I think when you pray, it's like, you're not always going to get the answer you want, right? Like, I think and that's something that people need to realize when they pray as well. Like, you're not always going to get the answer you're wanting, right? So I think it's like, okay, well, if you pray about it and God kind of shows you like, hey, this isn't the way you're supposed to be going. This person's not good for you. I think praying for the guidance to be able to step away from that situation and the strength to do it, because it's hard. It's hard stepping, like, because you can get comfortable with somebody, right? Like, okay, I know this person. I'm comfortable with this person.
You think you love them.
Right.
And love bombing could step in.
Right. And I think it's just, important to be able to, like, know and have the strength to step away. And it's hard. It can be hard. It can be scary because, like, okay, well, I've been with this person 10 years. I mean, you hear all the time about marriages that have people been married 25, 30 years, and then they just stop. And sometimes, it's for one reason or another. You never know what's going on in somebody's life, but I think it's important to be able to have the strength to step away if it's not a healthy relationship.
Why do you guys think it's so hard to leave? So hard to walk away from someone that you think you love when you've been with them for so long?
I feel like a big part of it is just how comfortable you are with that person. And you also look back on all the good memories. Like, oh, we may be going through a terrible time now, but a few years ago, like, that was my everything. So that is hard, but that is where you do just need to pray and just, like he said, like, you're not going to always get the answer you want, but...
And I'm not going to sit here and preach that divorce is a great option or anything like that. I think divorce should be an absolute last resort. Sorry, that's misspoke. A last resort, because in the Bible it says, you should not divorce. But anyway, it's like, you shouldn't do it. But sometimes, like, if you're in an abusive situation or whatever, like, it can be hard. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know what that's like because, I've never been in that situation, and I hope I never am. So I think it's just all about praying for the strength to do what's best for you, and especially in your walk with Jesus.
That's good. As we wrap up, what do you guys hope people take away from your story and this episode?
I do want to make a big point that, like, for people who are stressed about just a wedding in general, like, that's just one speck of your story. You know, it's just one day. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it leads into a life with your loved one. And that's what needs to be focused on, I think.
I think the biggest thing needs to be like, even if you're single, right? Yeah, you know, there's going to be somebody out there. There's 7 billion people in the world. Like, just because you haven't found them yet, whether you're 25, 35, whatever, it doesn't mean that there's somebody not out there for you. Because when I met her, I wasn't looking for anybody. It wasn't even close to it. Didn't want any part of it. And now here we are sitting right here 3 years later.
Yeah, they say, don't look and it'll come to you.
That's exactly
What
Yeah.
they say.
I'm like, all right, I'm not looking. Where's my husband? But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on
Absolutely.
FFTM. I really enjoyed this conversation,
very
and
fun.
I'm so excited for you guys.
Thank you,
This is
and thank
such
you for
an
having
exciting
us.
season, of course. The last thing that I usually have all my guests do is just pray for people who maybe are in this current season of engagement, who want to be engaged, but they just have something holding them back, and just kind of pray over people who just are struggling and overwhelmed. And
Yeah, I got it. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you for this day. And Lord, we want to thank you for relationships, whether that's a relationship with a significant other or a friendship, Lord, because friendships are just as important as significant others, because without friends, Lord knows where we would be. And Lord, I want to pray for the ones that are uncertain in their relationship, Lord, and I want to pray that you'll give them the strength to ask you for guidance and for your help. And Lord, I pray that you'll guide them in the way that is best for their lives, and that they'll be able to listen, and you'll give them the discernment to listen. Lord, I want to thank you for Hannah for having us on this podcast, and I want to thank you for Gabby for putting her in my life. Lord, she's changed it so much for the better. And it's in your name I pray. Amen.
amen. Thank you guys so much for coming on FFTM. This was so fun.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
But thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode on engagement. We finally hit all 4 seasons of dating, singleness, dating, engagement, marriage. Hopefully we can do some more episodes, especially on dating, because I know dating is like the main topic that everyone just struggles with, especially with social media. But I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. But yeah, stay tuned for more on FFTM. Bye, y'all.